Hello, I'm James, and tonight's game is Mask of the Rose. Let's continue. Sometimes now, I try to remember the surface. What was it like before the fall, when we all still lived in a world of day and night, winter and summer? When Greece kept her distance from the other lodgers and wore gowns? When there was enough food on the table, and it wasn't always the same? Sometimes I can't get my memory to go back further than the night of the fall. Christmas preparations were different before. What morbid thing are you reading now? It's the Illustrated London News. That's worse. What have they got this time? Engravings of the latest executions? The crowd gathered to see the deaths? Lee Starchy isn't accused of treason. They behead and quarter people for that offense, though not very often. It's the Queen with Prince Albert and the children, and a Christmas tree. Ah, they're sending that round again, are they? Then, this I recall. She took the picture and put it up in the frame of a mirror for decoration. Here we have a very broad hypothesis. If I remember from the last playthrough, Ivy knows a thing or two about poisons. Though first, let's interview David, for anyone with motives against him. The brooch makes it look as though I'm doing some sort of official business, though who can say for what office? Doctor, it's good to see you. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the murder? There are some things I don't understand. Better you than the news hounds, perhaps. But I'd still like to know what you think you can do with the answers. The law has cracked somewhat. Requires a touch of volunteer assistance. There are uniformed constables now, for good reason. Doesn't fall to every citizen to try to enforce the Queen's order. Not just any citizen. I have a reason to be interested. And at the same time, I am not especially close to either to you or to your sister. I am more impartial than your friends could be. David hesitates between several temptations. I suppose anything I say to you is unlikely to get back to my relatives. I trust you'll make good use of what I tell you. No gossiping, no scandal-mongering. Only use it in the cause of truth. After that, if it paints me as a weakling or a fool, so be it. Was there anyone who had strong feelings for you? Anyone who might have acted on them? There was Charlotte Carringham. We were engaged once. After the fall, she indicated a renewed interest. I didn't pursue the affair. I've spoken about Charlotte's husband before. There's no need for him to tell me again about the letters Charlotte sent to David, trying to rekindle a romance, and then drawing back from it again. I asked David about any possible enemies. Lord Carringham was my greatest detractor, I would say. You've heard about him already. I cannot imagine him resorting to poison. I think he preferred to avoid acknowledging the situation as much as he could. Could this be a matter of money? Did you have a success in business or come into an inheritance? You could say that, though it would be more accurate to say that I came into a great deal of bother. The money was not immediately evident. I have a cousin, Isaac, on the surface. The cousin had estates near Brighton. In the ordinary course of things, I would not have expected ever to come into that money. He was not much older than I am, and he had recently married. I had expected to wish him joy when his children were born, which I imagined to be in the near future. Instead, when mail service with the surface resumed, we found notification that he and his wife had both died. The estate comes to me if I could reach the surface to claim it. This may have displeased some of our other relatives. It will certainly have put Isaac's brother's nose out of joint. I'm sorry, these are terrible times. David makes a few flattering remarks on my better points. No one speaks for a moment. Rachel has been speaking to me about an addition to our household. She keeps suggesting that her friend Griselda move in with us. We met on the night of my return from the dead. I admit I wasn't able to form a definite impression of her character then. Rachel describes her as eminently well-born and well-connected, if a trifle eccentric in matters of dress. Ah, yes, I observed that Rachel had an interest in Greece, one that exceeds the usual boundaries of friendship. That's a departure. Are you sure? You should have seen them the moment Rachel laid eyes on her. I'd say that flowers and hearts burst over her head, but I think the effect was something more carnal. Thank you. That will do. I know I was foolish enough to open this line of discussion, but it is my sister we're talking about. There needn't be a scandal. Perhaps there wouldn't have been even on the surface. These things can be passed off as a friendship of unusual depth, though of course. I had hoped for Rachel to have her own household in due time. The Neath permits a great deal that wasn't permitted before. I am relieved that it is not Milton. Any distraction from him must be a relief. I must ask, the same things everyone wants to ask. What was it like to die? That's the part I can't speak to Rachel, or to anyone. Fortunately, it isn't what interests my visitors either. They want to talk about what comes afterward. The boat ride and the far shore, and the great pale ice moths in the air. But it's the suffering when I was still alive. That's why I can't get out of my head, even if I try not to think about it. I am sorry. We have all had a great deal to bear. David makes a few flattering remarks on my better points. It's not a pleasant thing, dying. My head ached, and my lungs were burning. I felt like there was a great ball of fire in my gut, and my body began to purge itself. I'll spare you the details. I think it must have been Phoebe who had to clean the place afterward. It's another indignity that I did that to her. Made her face such a thing, I mean. It's a terrible sensation when you realize that your body is destroying itself, and it's being damaged beyond repair. That you're going to die, but that you're nowhere near dead yet. It's frightening, but whatever comes, I'm here with you. The worst thing is remembering death. I wish I could forget just that. Just forget what it was like. Don't suppose that's one of the miracles of the Neath? The ability to put a memory in a safe and sink it to the bottom of the Z. If anyone does know something like that, it will be Archie or perhaps Milton. Not the people David would choose as confidants. If I do hear of any way, I will let you know. Thank you. Don't worry, I don't expect you'll be able to. If you did, I would be grateful. Help David forget death. I'm afraid I can't entertain as long as I used to. Everything is always running too slowly, yet every day is the same. Judging by the clock, I can afford another errand today. A surface dweller and a romantic rival. Okay, I remember from another playthrough that Ivy knows something about poisons. Good Yule, Doctor. I trust the cold isn't getting to you too much. You look superb. I wish the rest of London had tastes as advanced as yours. I recount the newspaper story. The Ministry of Public Decency has forbidden the printing of former London street names. Make the story as engaging as I can. Plenty of detail and a fair sprinkling of dramatic pauses. They're not all bad, the masters. Gave me my license to trade, authorized me to carry on as I was, at least. I speak for a moment about the sinister nature of the ministry. Ivy hears me out, but it's plain this question doesn't matter as much to her as to me. Don't mind me. For clothes ready made up, you wouldn't do better than you find here. And if you're in the market for something better, why, I do finer work by appointment. I had a question or two for you. Where I come from, we don't inform for free. You want me to remember something? It'll cost you twopence. Fair enough. I hear you were at the Landau townhouse the day David died. So I was. Not that I knew it was his last day at the time. I was there to refurbish one or two of Rachel's gowns for her. Used to be your Rachel Landaus would never have their old gowns made over, but new cloth is dearer than hen's teeth now. You didn't see David while you were there? He was resting, not well enough to receive visitors. I did see Archie arrive. He might have left his bag of medicines unwatched for a time. But that's not what I was there for, was it? But you had no reason to kill him off yourself? No reason of my own? And Lord Carringham didn't pay me to do it either, before you go hounding down paths like that. You'd have had reason to, seeing that his wife was sending love notes to David Landau. I was acquainted with him, but he didn't put me to the temptation of offering payment. What can you tell me about poison? Same thing every seamstress knows. Don't lick your green threads. There's enough arsenic in a lady's wardrobe to kill the whole household, often as not. Of course, you've still got the question of delivery. To the best of my knowledge, David Landau didn't die with an emerald neckcloth stuck down his throat. Do you know who killed David? No one's made me a confession of his murder, if that's what you're asking. Not sure what I'd do if they had. Been listening to secrets people want to be rid of. I heard of an old Neath ritual of Alumis, and I thought it'd be a quick money spinner. But quite a few dark things came in. I don't care to be giving away every confession I heard. Silence falls. There was a mother who came to me to confess about the death of her baby. Go on. Well, the deed was done, and peckish work it was, but there's still not a belly timber in the house. It's all right. Put it out. I asked her what she did with the body. Got a nice casket for it, or the like. All she said it was, I already learned to roast a cat. And then you take what advice you can. And tech. Prefer not to stray into the customs of every strange creature that reveals itself down here. We're all strange creatures now. Ivy tells me. I sense she has been wanting to tell someone about an expansion to her trade. She has found accomplices in high places, willing to bring her their stories. She is even able, she says, to hear about the doings in the palace. Terrible, monstrous doings since the fall. Ah well, top of Rome for me. It's getting late, so I'm heading back home. Swap drugs for poison. Arsenical cloth. How by drugs? The inquest concluded that David Landau received his poison in the form of tainted medicine. David provoked a nameless individual somehow, though I don't yet know how. For some reason, a nameless individual swapped rat poison for David's drugs at a moment when Archie was not attending to his supplies. Archie may have dosed David, but it was a nameless individual who made that dose fatal. The question: what did David do that might have provoked a murderer, and who shared in such feelings? I don't want them. He's trying to be kind. They are an abomination unto the Lord, and more importantly, an abomination unto me. Can't you see? Can't you make her see sense? Our new lodger is making horrid dolls for reasons best known to himself. Oh, wait. Our lodger is making horrid dolls for reasons best known to himself. Clay versions of us. Please make him stop doing it. And where exactly is my clay me? I think he's working on it. Mine was sweet, though he made me look terribly fierce. Mine had the most outrageous wig. I think he means to make an army. They're not like him. They don't move. Yet. Moss is surrounded by a profusion of little clay men. Oh, I'm sorry, yours is not ready. These are beautifully modeled. One wishes to capture the person accurately. It requires observation. Griselda dislikes being watched. I remember my king in his marble palace, his garden of statues all made in his image. I thought the other residents would appreciate a similar gesture. They could be a little less lifelike. That is their genius. But you know the others better. I will take advisement. Okay. Day 292, Yule. I convinced David to talk about the murder. I bribed Ivy to tell me about David's murder. 2 pets. Ivy persuaded me to take a new view on exploration and acceptance of new cultures. Day 293. 12 days remain in Yule. I'm the first to the morning paper. The headlines today read: Feline answering name of Pebbles accused of carrying prisoners' messages from the HMS Ungulate. I reach for another memory out of that jumbled grab bag. After the fall, there was a time when I didn't go to dinners. Are you ill, Stuart? You may find you have an appetite if you get out a bit. Take a walk and stretch the legs. Constable Harjeet will take you if you want to go. Thank you. I know it's kindly meant. But you'd prefer us out. I don't like to see you in this state. Come downstairs. We've said our piece. Best to leave it. Okay, we can be reasonably sure he wasn't killed with arsenic cloth. What to do next? Okay, lots of stuff about the difficult memories. Okay, someone... Okay, a surface dweller could not have swapped drugs for poison. But could have had Ivy, Milton, Phoebe, or Rachel do it. Okay, okay, the surface dweller... An imagined puppet master somehow influenced someone to swap drugs for poison. A surface-dwelling relative of the Landaus somehow persuaded a nameless individual to act as an assassin. A nameless individual swapped rat poison for David's drugs at a moment when Archie was not attending to his supplies. Archie may have dosed David, but it was a nameless individual who made that dose fatal. The question: how did a surface-dwelling relative of the Landaus manage to make a nameless individual do as she wished? Okay, let's discuss this with Harjeet. You're looking well. This is more than a social call. I believe I know what happened and why. When I start to explain, however, Harjeet stops me. You haven't put a name to the murderer. I couldn't persuade the court to take on this prosecution. Okay, so... we need a complete theory. Okay. Pages doesn't have anything about that. Okay, her main blocker seems to be the memories. Ah, your toadstools are looking handsome today. I recount the newspaper story. A cat has been accused of passing messages to prisoners. Oh? There's some talk of inducting cats into the diplomatic service or training them for espionage. Some of the beasties you tell me of must have precious rare pelts or scales or what have you. I'd like to see 'em for myself. Might be frightening, but there's a chance for us here. Creatures that have lived below for a long time, they'll know more on how to manage. Ivy nods along and even finishes a few of my sentences for me. Anything fine quality appropriate to the better class of individual, you'll find I have it. With the grubbier sort of garb, the menace eradicator does a sideline. Just don't ask them where they found their goods. Slandered by rats, I'm bound. You say you have a way to remove a memory. I know how it's done. David Landau needs a memory out. But leave for him, I'm not a dentist. No, of course. No one speaks for a moment. Make my excuses to be going. Ah, well, top of Rome for me. Can just manage another errand today. Ah, Doctor, to what do I owe the pleasure? Is it possible to make people forget things here on the Neath? It is possible. Those who have lived longer in the Neath have cultivated many shades of oblivion. But I cannot recommend it. How do you hope to grow a soul if the exquisite torments are flushed away? For a moment no one speaks. Milton considers whether there is anything to add. Do visit our little consulate again sometime, Doctor. It's nearly time for supper. Oh, that was a waste. Forgive me for interrupting, everybody. I have something I'd very much like you all to see. He was asking me about my work with Mr. Pages. I very much hope I am not about to be confronted with a version of him in clay. The dolls are lifelike, but imprinted with the cheeky caricature that reflect the essence of the original. I hope these are to your liking. I took inspiration from a show near Hogslane Market I saw. It involved marionettes and what I took to be a crocodile.
These are entirely charming, Mr. Moss.
Yours has her nose in the air, Grease.
I did not notice that. Look, yours is wagging her finger, telling somebody off, no doubt.
I believe she is emphatically making a point, that's all.
I think these will do nicely, Mr. Moss.
And when can we expect you to make your debut at Hogslane Market? Oh no, they are far too fragile to withstand a performance. The business with the sausages alone would surely shatter them.
Don't fret, Mr. Moss. It's just teasing. These are far too precious to subject to such ridicule.
I am glad my work has provided satisfaction. I suppose I have differed from my king's own project in one crucial respect, however. I could not keep from including your particulars in the project. You are all so fully formed already, I couldn't help but include your character.
No, I think this was the right way to go about it.
I am glad. Artistic expression of this kind is not encouraged in Polythreme. The conductor controls the choir, not the other way around. I am glad my humble efforts find favor here. Speaking of which, I must get back to my tasks. I don't want to give Mrs. Chapman cause to fret. Okay. Harjeet, nothing. Ivy, nothing. Milton showed less reserve than usual. Day 294. 11 days remain. As usual, I resort to the morning papers. The headlines today read, "Come see Tristram Bagley's newest opera. Witness the rise of a prodigy." Probably best to give that one a miss, though I hear the critics are mad for it. I reach for another memory out of that jumbled grab bag. Rachel said something curious the day David returned. We were leaving the graveyard the day of David's return. But of course we didn't know yet that he was coming back. Horatio went home, rather than coming onward to the Landaus with us.
It's hard work grieving by yourself. We're meant to have relatives around. We're meant to trade stories of the dead. A part of our family was left on the surface, and part was lost in the fall. Part doesn't speak to us since Mother married beneath her, and part doesn't speak to us since we changed synagogues. And part doesn't speak to us because I don't like what I write in the Lily of London. It's very fractionated, our support. Almost entirely gone. Suppose I'll end by writing him into my stories, even more than he was before. He would have hated that. But I don't know a better way to do the work that has to be done.
Okay, stories. Okay. Okay, so surface dweller. We'll say they influenced. Probably Phoebe would be the best option to do it. Somehow influenced Phoebe to swap drugs for poison. That's one possibility. Mr. Pages may expect me to turn up with my ministry badge on. Actually, let's census Moss so that we have something to talk about. The badge will eliminate any expectation of a social visit, at any rate. Stuart, it's good to see you. The Ministry of Accounting and Recounting have asked me to work on the census. I see. Do claymen take spouses? I understand the terms, but have no experience of the concept. In Polythreme, one is part of a greater whole. One of us cannot be separated from all of us. And the king with 100 hearts encompasses us all. And you are all in union with the king? I serve my king. We are one. But it is a little more unusual. And I thought you were getting to trust me. Moss hesitates. Moss weighs whether to trust me. I am not unfinished. I still serve the king. To be finished is to be complete. To be complete is to be in harmony with his grace. That service is just a little complicated at present. He makes a noise like a sea spray weathering a limestone cliff. I came to the last city to ensure an exchange of gifts between the king and another. I'm sorry, I can only imagine how it must feel. Moss relaxes slightly. It was an honor to serve my king. It is my pride and purpose, for I was made in his image. When I look in one of your mirrors, I am reminded of my purpose. I had a question, if you don't mind indulging me. Have you ever been in love? I don't mean the physical process. He makes a shattering sound deep in his throat that is reminiscent of two boulders colliding. Rather, the companionship, the desire for it. I have that privilege, yes. I am delighted for you. I know your city places great stock in it. I cannot say that I have. I was raised by my king, he of 100 hearts. I know only his love, all that he deems fit for me to know, and now I walk apart from it. A noise issues from a heavy chest in the corner of Moss's room. It sounds distinctly like help. It was his suggestion, of course. The trouble with kings is that even their suggestions sound like commands. A further noise follows. It is a garbled shout.
Release me! How dare you subject a crown to such indignity? This is the sort of treatment fit only for unruly caps and truculent bonnets.
Moss, what do you have in this box? Oh, goodness. I had intended to tell you, but it shames me to say it, but I had quite forgotten I'd put him in that box. After such a long time, I had grown weary of listening to his voice. I do not know how it grasped your language so quickly. I must assume crowns are quick to adapt the customs of their wearers. I see an explanation is required. I have heard that every Englishman is an island, and on that island is a king. My home is similar in that it is an island and it has a king. My king obliged me to bring a gift of his into the previous city. It was to be delivered to an old acquaintance of his who resided there. They had a tradition of exchanging gifts. My task was to deliver the latest. A task whose difficulty, I regret to say, has only increased since your city fell upon it, for which I hold you in no way responsible. My king bore this acquaintance only love, yet plainly this person does not wish to be found. He makes a noise like a statue dropping into an ocean. The king's heart is much larger than my own. Evidently, it is of such a size to accommodate complexities. You must be very trusted to be given this task. Thank you for saying so. The king could not have appointed it someone else, it requiring such an extent of time and distance. The box makes an indignant noise. It speaks Loamspratch, the language of clay. The box repeats itself. I must object. It is not a connection that would have occurred to me. The box makes a noise like a knife on a whetstone. I did not ask anyone before, because first this city was in a state of anarchy, and then another city fell on top of it. which made establishing a rapport sufficient for asking a favor a little difficult. A further indignant burst of Loamspratch emerges from the box. My apologies. The gift has happened upon a solution to my problem. It is a crown. It is intended for the recipient's head. The recipient is absent, but the king believed dreams might lure him out. They were a favorite of his. If the crown were suffused in your dream stuff, the king believes his old friend could not resist seeking it out. This clod is forbidden to dream, therefore yours will have to do. Would you be willing to help us and donate a dream? What do you need? Moss opens up the trunk, revealing a crown that appears exceptionally old. He gazes at it for a moment, an unreadable expression on his stony face, before he passes it to me. The Horned Crown. There are always risks in wearing a hat with opinions of its own. This crown was worn by my king once. You may whisper your dreams to it. I do not believe it will take advantage of this knowledge. All you need to do is recall a dream and whisper it into our horns. Then wear us upon your head when you next go into the city. If the one who is to receive us has returned to London, he will find us. If he has not, well, you will get to receive the unearned privilege of wearing us for a short while. You may not thank us. The tears we are certain we can see in your eyes shall suffice. If, of course, you want to do this. Makes a noise that sounds like a drop of water on marble. This is our task. I can find another way if I must. He says something in grinding Loamspratch. I wonder if it means there must be another way. Perhaps this man does not wish to be found. Perhaps, but my king wishes him to be found. Therefore he will be found. The man will seek both the dream and the dreamer. So, will you do it? Will you take the crown and find the man I was sent to deliver it to? I will take the crown and find this missing man. My gratitude is... It is difficult to express in either Loamspratch or your own tongue. He is happy is the translation. Now I must be filled with your dreams. Come whisper them into my horns, and I shall tell you a secret in turn. I lean in close and feel the cold and ancient crown upon my lips. It seems like it is made of ivory or bone beneath the gold. I tell it of the morgue I walk at night, the smell of the embalming fluid, the needle and thread in my hand as I set to work. I tell it of the eyes that open after I have sewn them shut, the tear of the thread, the blood mixed with the tears, the feel of cold fingers locking around my wrist. Ask Harjeet about a man searching for dreams. What a busy thing your nocturnal imaginings are. I do not sleep. Even if I did, the king has not authorized dreams. But if I dreamed, it would be of territories not yet conquered. That seems the province of crowns. Now your reward. I know a secret about our moss under limestone, who unworthily bears the face of our king. I lean in to hear the bronze-toned whisper of the crown. He hid me in his box for fear. In completing the task, he would find his way back to Polythreme. But with it so close in reach, were he to fail, he would be deemed unfinished. The worst thing a clay man can be. Disobedient, truculent, incomplete. Moss glances up at me from across the room. He is far too polite to admit to eavesdropping. Now I am well filled. Let us see about our missing man. Harjeet may be useful. If my king's friend is lured back by the crown, Harjeet may see him on his rounds. Thank you once more. It means more than words I can express. That leaves time for another errand today. Okay. Interesting. Now that we have a suspect, we can talk to Ivy. The badge will eliminate any expectation of a social visit, at any rate. The more often I visit the neighborhood of the bazaar, the more it seems unlike any other part of London. When I try to imagine where it might have come from, my mind halts. If I can guess, I find I don't want to. Do you have anything more? Mr. Pages is pleased enough with my information to give me 2 pennies. Its existence is a scream. There will be more like it in time. Men of mud. My colleagues employ them. They do not always read or write. Not suitable factors for our ministry. That is enough of my official duties for the moment. Is it possible to make people forget things here in the Neath? Polypotentously. One may remove one memory, or several, or all. Scrubbing out the mind like an old cup. Or, which is juxtaposited, one may erase the truth entire, converting what was into a cold contradiction. But these pens and inks are reserved to the lexilliterate. Not for you. I have anticipated for some time. Mr. Pages looms closer. Certain difficulties present themselves. You will stand on the chair. I will elevate you. Reaches out to pick me up. Mr. Pages lifts me up and places me standing on the chair. There's an appeal to being so light. Then its kisses are multi-part, complicated matters, as polysyllabic as its words. Grows hungrier. As do I. I lean into the kiss. Its mouth is warm and its teeth are sharp. But it does not hurt me. Must take considerable care not to hurt me, in fact. Mr. Pages falls into a monologue from which I can extract only parts of meaning. It is distraught by the other masters. From its description, they are less an organized force than a contentious cabinet, or perhaps a particularly disagreeable family. There are comments on the eating habits of Mr. Vales, and the imbibing of Mr. Wines. Mr. Pages hopes, it seems, to complete some important project through the census and the gathering of texts. When this is done, it expects that the masters will scatter, released from their collective obligation. I say farewell to Mr. Pages. Pages does not reply at all. It is at times difficult to tell whether Mr. Pages is intentionally ill-mannered, or merely has no interest in discovering what the proper etiquette might be. The hallways outside are hushed, except that if I listen closely, there is a sound like something walking with an uneven gait. Its shoes, or perhaps its toenails, click on a polished floor. Okay, so our current theory is that a surface dweller somehow influenced Phoebe to swap drugs for poison. But how? Tomorrow we talk to Ivy about it. Horatia murmurs over her plate, a blessing, I think, for the food and for Archie, too. I've been getting new supplies. New supplies, yes. A humid, fleshy odor rises from the basement if I stop in the stairwell. A scent like hot bacon and the sweetness of ripe fruit. I am forbidden to visit. We are all, always, forbidden to visit. Every day's meal is finer, richer, more exotic. It isn't just the meat. There are spices I've never tasted before. I chew diligently. We finish eating. Am I awake or asleep? A moment ago I was in the dream of a golden forest. Interesting. Golden forest, that would be risen burgundy? And then some noise woke me. There's something at the window. I'm sure I'm awake. This is more than a nightmare. Can't seem to stand up. You're bringing things down on the house. No, don't move. It won't be able to get in now. What was that? When you have certain friends, you inherit certain enemies. I don't know who it is, but I know it isn't welcome in our house. How did you drive it off? My foundations go deep. What are you telling me? That the fabric of this house obeys me. The windows callous over, the roof grows barbs. The basement extends much farther than it used to. I can't write down my methods. Archie wouldn't think it was scientific. When did that begin, and how? Sometimes I lie on the floor in the basement when the world becomes too frightening. I breathe slowly and imagine my roots are going into the earth. In time, I started to see his thoughts. The thoughts of the tentacle creature.
when the lacquer started falling, he spoke to me more than before. When I understood what he had done to London, how he was stretching his arms beneath it, how he was rearranging its streets, then I understood also how I could do the same with the house. Not everyone would have been able to accept such a gift. I've had to shift my thoughts many times in this life. I'll leave you now. You're safe to sleep. It won't come back, or if it does, it won't get in. But watch yourself. The thing that came for you is a hunter.
Okay, so my witty and warm self has become meritocratic in favor of strangers and people unlike me, opportunistic, and not always too concerned about the social contract, on the wrong side of the law, and I like it here. Interesting. Day 294, Yule. Horatia showed less reserve than usual. I learned that Horatia has some sort of supernatural control over the fabric of our house. Day 2... Okay, I burn for Mr. Page's. Everyone must be able to see it. Things are heating up between me and Mr. Page's. Day 294, Yule. I think Mr. Page's has feelings for me. I want to win its heart. So far, we've kissed. Day 295. 10 days remain in Yule. I get to the morning newspaper after Greece is done with it. The headlines today read, Inventor proposes visiting a balloon to visit whatever is above. And in fallen London, you can actually do that. I reach for another memory out of that jumbled grab bag. A month or so after the fall, all the trees died. Nonsense. The trees were already half dead. Half. They'd been withering and losing leaves slowly. Now look at them. Overnight, they're all dead. And in some places, they're gone entirely. March 20. Equinox. The days and nights are hardly equal now. There was a notice in the broadsheets about the phenomenon. and a profile of the Totteridge yew, the northernmost tree to have fallen with London. Overnight, something drank that tree to her dregs, consuming all that the sun had endowed, leaving only bitterness. Archie took the sheet away to pack medicine bottles. The coat says I offer pastoral comfort and am willing to face dark truths. True, the hat may give me a somewhat frivolous appearance. Actually, let's see what the crown does. There are always risks in wearing a hat with opinions of its own. The coat says I offer pastoral comfort and am willing to face dark truths. But the crown, can it be taken as the mitre of a syncretic bishop? As for the corsage, I admit it is startlingly vulgar. Now let's go back to the top hat. Happy Yuletide, Doctor. I hope you're being fed. Your hat is impeccable. You look dazzling today. Ivy makes a few flattering remarks on my better points. I've seen your friend, David Landau. Come on. Mucked his brain right out. He's no more memory of dying than I have. Though he knows it happened, I've left that much alone. Excellent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 1,000 blessings on you. I do seem always, some 2 or 3 lines of work more than I need. Could Phoebe have had a reason to want David Landau dead? Phoebe? Now there's a woman who could learn a lesson from the old man. Had you not seen she's mad in love with him, and she's never had anyone to love properly before? She's got a budget stored up, all the love she didn't put into a father or brother or sweetheart when she was a girl. She's set to spend it all on him, if he'd ask her for a groat of it. After the route to the surface was found again, he spoke of going back above, and she begged him to stay in the Neath. When he was dead, she could barely lift her head. She had such a heartbreak. Interesting. In our longer conversations, Ivy shows a turn for the philosophical. There are broadsheets remaining from before the fall that contain the most scandalous and shocking reports. Politicians and ladies of influence were brought low by their reports. But now those politicians and those ladies are dead or vanished, which is much the same as far as London is concerned. The only trace left is the trace of their scandal, but if that had not survived, there would be nothing at all. So that's a tricky bit, isn't it? You'd rather have a rude tombstone than new tombstone. Ah well, top of Rome for me. I just have time for another errand today. Abandoned after an affair. Okay. So, we have a possible motive. Sneaky dose tampering. The inquest concluded that David Landau received his poison in the form of tainted medicine. David planned to abandon Phoebe after an affair. Phoebe hoped they might marry. Now they lived in a place where the old social rules had been overturned. Especially in the first days after the fall, it seemed that none of the old hierarchy now mattered. However, David had no intention to do any such thing, and in fact proposed to move back to the surface, with or without her. Phoebe swapped rat poison for David's drugs at a moment when Archie was not attending to his supplies. Archie may have dosed David, but it was Phoebe who made that dose fatal. There's no positive evidence that this is what happened, but the possibility might be enough to spare Archie, to raise doubts about convicting him. Interesting. Let's take Rachel, our latest plot. You have a visitor. I hoped Phoebe would stay, in fact. As you like. What a handsome house this is. It's survived the fall so much better than so many others. Even before the fall, it would be considered very elegant. Rachel makes a few flattering remarks on my better points. What are your origins? What sort of people do you come from? I can guess a few things from your clothes and your voice, but there are contradictions. I lay out the history of my family and the business they were in. Go into some detail about the commissioning of coffins and the costs of hiring a matching set of black horses to draw the hearse. Don't let it go to your head, but I find you impressive. It will pass, don't worry. Seems I've passed some test. Dreams are a danger to everyone now. From there I go on to speak about the ending. I didn't have much patience for stories like this on the surface. Reading the old folk tales is one thing, but when it comes to characters of our own time, I preferred them to face real difficulties. Suppose our dreams are difficulties now? No one speaks for a moment. Grease and her employer may like this one, too. I have something for you. I don't know whether you'll care for it, but if you don't, it probably has some slight value. It was a gift, but for various reasons I don't quite dare wear it myself. I believe it's a devil make. She fishes in her bag and pulls out a gleaming piece of brass jewelry, strangely made. Spirifer's fork, a sort of fork, shows my allegiance to my yellow-eyed friends. Rachel adds a proper payment.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. 1,000 blessings on you. Think nothing of it. There's more if you can take it on from that point. I'll have some work to do putting flesh on all these bones. And there are some points of motivation that I may alter slightly. But it can be used. It can certainly be used. Rachel falls into telling me stories of Milton's salon. It is attended mostly by writers and poets. Especially daring poets will sometimes attempt a reading, but Milton's side commentary has proven a deterrent to the softer-bellied. He has no patience with work that's made to pattern. If it's a story about the uncomplaining suffering of wives, servants, children, or dogs, there is also a strict rule against paeans to the faithfulness of Penelope, or Ruth, or the Virgin Mary. If anyone dares say anything like that, he quips it out of existence. She goes on like this for some time, introducing me in turn to all the characters of that world, whether highborn or not. I must return to my writing, I'm afraid. Look after yourself, Doctor. It's almost time to eat. Develop a plot about the heroine's troubled dreams. Spoilt Beauty and someone encountered one another in the land of nightmare. Spoilt Beauty now dwelled in that place more than in waking life. Even when the Spoilt Beauty seemed awake, her thoughts were often elsewhere. An enchanted king. A robbery man. A man of business. A petty thief. A landlady. Asmodeus. A golem. An intriguing stranger. A civil servant. Let's go with Asmodeus. Make it even more fantastic. Neath born. The Spoilt Beauty and Asmodeus encountered one another in the land of nightmare. Spoilt Beauty now dwelled in that place more than in waking life. Even when the Spoilt Beauty seemed awake, her thoughts were often elsewhere. Asmodeus was hopelessly in love with the Spoilt Beauty, whom he met only in the land of dreams. Spoilt Beauty was so afraid that she stayed up many nights in a row, and then one morning fell deeply asleep.
Asmodeus gave her a safe house as protection against predators. Asmodeus struggles with envy. His spoilt beauty understands her fellow creatures better than before. Archie's absence is a coldness in the air. How is the new feast coming along? The Masters have been planning a celebration for the whole city to coincide with Valentine's Day. The organization is a disgrace. The supplies are insufficient, and their distribution through the city leaves a great deal to be desired. Excellent. I beg your pardon? Ah, it just sounds so invigorating for you, Miss Griselda. I don't know what the Masters are up to. There's something underlying this. It's meant to bring lovers together. I am very dubious of the effect, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's some disagreement between the Masters at the back of it. I chew diligently. There are no more mushrooms on my plate. Day 292, Yule. Grease had a strop about Moss's habit of making clay dolls of all his fellow lodgers. Day 295, Yule. I brought Rachel a plot idea, one she thought good enough to use. Day 296. 9 days remain in Yule. Grease leaves me the newspaper after she's read everything of political import. The headlines today read, Initial exploration of sunken parliament retrieves prelapsarian artifacts. Speaker's mace, Jubilee crockery, ministerial remains, pig, deceased. I reach for another memory out of that jumbled grab bag. Theophilus and Horatia had their differences back then. Someone had come to ask Archie about the Christmas services. Theophilus? May I rely on you, then, to read the second lesson? Och, if I must, but... The sacrifice of Isaac? No, that is to say, yes, that's the right lesson, but he isn't sacrificed in the end, of course. That, naturally, was the miracle. Am I remembering Archie right? Maybe it wasn't even him. I've always been more partial to the fourth lesson. Ah, but consider how the second lesson ends. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies.
That's the verse I most dislike.
Ah, I see.
Give me a prophecy of peace rather than a prophecy of dominion.
It's Archie who's to read it out. Okay. There's no positive evidence that this is what happened. The possibility might be enough to spare Archie. Let's see if we can find something to support it. The coat says I offer pastoral comfort and am willing to face dark truths. The fork may suggest a different allegiance. The fork has an alluring menace about it. Most likely, no one will expect me to exchange news of the day. Ah, Doctor, to what do I owe the pleasure? Do you mind if I ask you a few questions about the murder? There are some things I don't understand. Yes. Clearing up human misunderstandings is one of my favorite pastimes. It is possible, of course, that you will get some answers you do not want. But that will just make the conversation more delicious. Did you see any murderous impulses in Phoebe when you were becoming acquainted with the Landau household? She did not want him dead. I am certain of that. It's possible, of course, that she knew he wouldn't remain in that state. Then one would have to ask, who had something to gain from his temporary departure to the boatman? Or the other alterations that result from that journey? No one speaks for a moment. Milton considers whether there is anything to add. I look forward to your next visit, Doctor. I shake my head to clear it. The ruminations are gone. All is as it was. It's time to run another errand today. Action. Told of impermanent murder. Okay, so either Milton or Pages told Phoebe that murder is not permanent. Milton explained that murder in the Neath need not be a permanent affair, might in fact be a suitable light punishment. But we can't leave it at someone. Okay, but we still need to tighten this up a bit. The apron, brooch, and crown hint that I specialize in the most unusual fashions. The brooch makes it look as though I'm doing some sort of official business, though who can say for what office? Happy Yuletide, Stuart. I hope you're not having too much trouble with nightmares. But Tachikon burbles a greeting as well. You remember the errand you gave me? If you have the amber with you, I suggest you return it. He might burst otherwise. And if I said the amber had been destroyed? Destroyed how? Melted. I left it by the fire and it melted away. Unlikely. Very well, I ate it. There's not enough food above, and it looked like a fruit. We will give you another one, and you can begin again. It is not a gem that cannot be copied. Our resources are not as fragile as that. But you did not eat it. But Tachikon grasps it as one would a pine cone. Tachikon makes a series of surprised honks. It suggests a new possibility has occurred. The tenacity of the merchant is remarkable, as is her doggedness in pursuit of her ambition. Yet there is a grubby mercenary quality to it I cannot approve. Still, it puts any doubts to rest. Commerce in this city is nascent. The locals subsist upon a crude barter economy. The time is not right. But Tachikon emits a large, excitable warble. It indicates insistence. Right this instant? Forgive me, I need to evacuate the essences from the amber. I shall be back momentarily. It makes a series of burbling squeaks, escalating in pitch, volume, and duration. I am given to understand that he sees London as a great marketplace. He continues to make energetic pipings, the origins of which are best left unexamined. I get the sense that he believes if everything was for sale, then it follows his status as an outsider is too. He makes a percussive noise through the application of several tentacles into one another at studied intervals. I am to understand that, through the means of a commercial enterprise, he would find his way into the hearts of Londoners. He hopes that I might assist him in securing such a license. There are few authorities in London who could furnish such a thing. That was less viscous than previous. I knew that Termagant at the market was of unwholesome character. I heard warbling while I was gone. Has Batachikon made his proposal, then? He thinks it is time that he be introduced to one of the Khans, so that the lengthy process of rubbery emergence from the warrens can begin. The meaning is clear. This is not what he meant at all. Barquajin glances at me as though for support. We hoped, as the first person to encounter Batachi-Khan in this city, that you would advocate for him with the Khan of Books. And what am I to do? Stand there and make appropriate noises. I shall do the talking. Batachi-Khan makes an ominous warble. You will add credence to our argument. The rubbery men wish to re-emerge. It is best that the process is orderly so as to minimize alarm, and given legal sanction by the Khans of the Bazaar. As the first human to encounter a rubbery man, your voice will lend weight to our argument. As I say, the emergence will take years, decades perhaps, in the deepest reaches. Batachi-Khan makes an aggrieved honk. He need not wait. A shop of his own. Now. Once permission is granted, we can return to the rest. Establish communion, commingle essences, perhaps even re-establish the old vats. Batachi-Khan makes a wheezy, deflated gurgle. He makes a forlorn second attempt. London is a market economy. One captures the market by finding a niche. What better niche than a shop in possession of a rubbery man? Batachi-Khan is eager to begin. It means we can both return to the deep places together. And prepare for the emergence, of course. They both look at me as though waiting for my response. Serve as ambassador to rubbery affairs. I am glad you have followed my interpretation. I noticed your facility with his language and feared I was becoming out of practice. Excellent. Batachi-Khan and I will begin preparations for a journey below and re-commingling. Batachi-Khan makes a piercing whistle and wriggles his tentacles in a clear gesture of dismissal. It seems to indicate he is aware she has been translating inaccurately. He believes this to be a deliberate deception. You can't mean... I was only doing what was best for you. I have walked among these Londoners. I have seen their fear, their despair. And you mean to go and take their coin. I tell you they will not stand for it. Not this soon. Batachi-Khan repeats the gesture more firmly. He makes a guttural, plangent hiss. Centuries we have waited below, and your patience snaps now. Very well, I will not linger where I am not wanted. This isn't what you want. Batachi-Khan makes a honk, indicating momentary regret. Then he makes a dismissive hoot. There is no convincing him when he is like this. I will not outstay my welcome. London is a large place, but perhaps we shall meet again. And if he runs afoul of this folly, I will find you. By now, Horatio will be wondering where I am. New ships have come to the Wolfstock docks today. Which are those, Miss Griselda? The same they ever were. I've forgotten how London streets go together. All the names have changed. I chew diligently. Dinner reaches an end. Milton. Day 296, Yule. I convinced Milton to talk about David's murder. Day 297. 8 days remain in Yule. I get to the morning newspaper after Grease is done with it. The headlines today read, Nightmares of Mechanical Bear continue to plague Old Castle residents. I reach for another memory out of that jumbled grab bag. Before the fall, Horatio and Grease were less comfortable together. What a remarkable painting, Mrs. Chapman. You're kind to say so. They were stiff with each other back in those days. Grease always talked as though she wished she were somewhere else, and she didn't have trousers yet. The lion's expression is very amiable. I wouldn't say amiable, maybe vacant. He doesn't seem to intend on eating anyone. That must be a comfort to the ox. The painting depicts the peaceable kingdom. The lion shall lie down with a lamb, and a little child shall lead them. Ah, scripture. It's, not Leviticus, that's the book with all the putting to death. Isaiah. The painting was a gift to my father from Quaker friends. Okay. The brooch makes it look as though I'm doing some sort of official business, though who can say for what office? The coat looks sober, and the ministry badge looks official. Batachikon burbles a greeting. Batachikon wiggles his tentacles with nervous anticipation. Ask Batachikon if he is ready to meet Mr. Pages. Are you ready to meet Mr. Pages? Batachikon makes a lonely warble. I think he misses Barquagin's constant presence. This is followed by a forlorn trumpeting noise. It indicates that he suspects he is stealing his idea to set up shop. It is a very specific suggestion. Perhaps he knows more about her current whereabouts than he is saying, but he gives no further indication. He makes a resolute honk. It is no concern of his, wherever she is. He wonders where that might be. Mr. Pages is not known for an excess of patience. A brave little warble follows. But Tachi-kan is as ready as he'll ever be.
I am informed of a familiar visitation. I hope it will not be like a ghastly novel where the miser is inflicted with spirits, each more discromonious than the last.
Tachi-kan makes a shy warble, and conveys a sense of distant acquaintance, cautiously renewed.
Ah, the ententacled ones! I had not thought to see you again. The pastry surfaces in the most unexpected ways. I hope the stitchments of past and present will not cause undue rupture. Why I have such hopes for London. This time things will be managed much more judiciously.
But Tachi-kan gestures wildly, and many orifices produce plangent warbles. The cacophony to trade. A shop of its own to trade from. Hang on, let's see what's going on here. There we go. Render time is back to normal. Let's take a look at you. What's going on with you? Keyframe interval. There we go. The warbling ceases, but Tachi-kan gives you an expectant look.
You must interpolate for me.
I'll do my best. Tachi-kan makes a worried warble. Tachi-kan makes a second hooting attempt, ending with a defiant, "Otha through!" He is insistent that he requires a place of business from which to engage in the chief activity of London, that is, commerce. Pages looks at me, awaiting elucidation. But Tachi-kan wishes to open a shop.
The masters outlawed charity, you know. Despite the evident excitables around the proposalment, I can see many flaws, obstacles, and errors. Commerce grows slowly, the economy not yet stabilized. To allow competition into such a fragile ecology could prove disastrous for us. It is with a full heart I decline, but it seems prudent that a more managed rapprochement between robbery and Londoner must begin. And with you here already as an embassy, I believe the process may begin. I shall send clerks to bedevil you shortly. A capricious day to you all.
Tachi-kan makes an anguished honk. There is a determination in his tone. Oh, hi. Looks like we have someone following. There is no blame. He makes a final, defiant, "Oh, thought through! This is not the end." But there will be work regardless. The re-emergence of the rubbery men is not a small matter. He will return to the Warrens. He hopes to see me soon. For now, he is very tired. There's time to run another errand today. I consider what impression this will make on Harjeet. Harjeet greets me coldly. You look dazzling today. Harjeet appears to recognize some common strand between us. I need to take care of that alarm. Harjeet appears to recognize some common strain between us. Harjeet hints that I should say a bit more about myself. I used to dine with Lord Palmerston before the fall. He consulted me on matters of state confidentially. Seems I have passed some test. Ask if Harjeet has seen... Have you seen a man who... I don't actually have any idea what he looks like. He would be in red and gold. He would appear alone and say things that to you would appear strange. My goodness. A talking hat. A talking crown. Of course. My apologies. This man would have been encountered only in the small hours, usually given only to the dead. Much has changed, but my master knows these are constants. I saw a man in a coat out of fashion. He asked me a variety of strange questions, about Archie, too. It was near Shaftesbury Avenue. Where could I get such an exquisite piece? Where could I get such an exquisite piece? You cannot! It is mine! But at an establishment called the Adelphi, and tech again, and tech again. but at an establishment called Adelphi. All manner of things are just lying about, riches discarded. Truth be told, I venture out in search of dreams, one in particular. A crown upon an uncrowned head. A headpiece which has a life all its own, yet is not free. It was meant for me, yet resides with thee. It was my dream once to possess, yet you have it first. The king no doubt suggested that giving it a dream unknown to me would lure me out. And it has, as he knew it would, though the giving of a dream has dual purpose, both to catch me and to humble me. Only by possession of another's dream could I ever think of wearing the crown, and thus such ambition is but night's ephemera. The horned crown says something unspeakable in Loamspratch. I think it means it would like May to come to the point. Well, I think it is more than passing rude to listen to dreams without the consent of the dreamer. Stored as they are in your horned head, I think I'd prefer to hear from the source direct. I would not be unhappy to find you when I close my eyes. A flicker of firefly interest stirs. In other circumstances, I might be the proverbial candle flame. But it is the crown I want, not its temporary perch. It seems I must ask the crown in your stead. I tell it of them, dwelled on them, maybe. It goes again. Okay, the technical was doing it. Okay. Ergo, someone else was sent, a man of clay, I'd wager, one of the king's own servants. But he faced an obstacle. Clay men, as you must know, do not dream. My king does not like to make a task easy. Now I must begin the ritual to signal my acceptance of this gift. There are much easier ways, but my love is a traditionalist. And these were written on the boughs of the twin cedars long ago. The rules of courtship as sacred in the observance as in the act. Now give me the courtesy of a minute. This must be performed in private. I take a step back and wait for him to turn his attention away from me. I watch as May takes the horned crown to his lips and faces the part where the eyes would be. He kisses it. With his left hand, he takes a pouch from his coat and sprinkles ashes over both his own head and the crown. With his right, he closes his hand in a circle and presses it against his breast as though binding himself. I catch a sudden scent of cedarwood, as unexpected as a ray of sunlight. What's the creditor got to do with this? Oh, hey. Ava. Yeah. How are you? I am well. Let me see if my mic's muted. Testing. Testing. Looks like it should be fine. And guess it's still on monitor off. Catch a sudden scent of cedarwood, as unexpected as a ray of sunlight. I am not worthy of this crown, least among men, for pain was my gift to you. You send this to mock me, but I will wear it with pride, for I saved the best and most beauteous of men. And if this is my punishment, let it be so. But accept my prayer that in the long centuries my suffering might be enough, so that as I place this crown upon my head, we might cross the vast sea, at last regard each other. Tell the crown-bearer, his prince comes. I shall keep this gift. The horned crown says something in guttural loam-scratch that I did not make out. For a time, I will see you again soon. As he goes, I see him place the crown upon his head. It is nearly time for supper. Discovered May. I wonder what May looks like in Neathborn. Ah. Interesting. The wealthy eccentric. Okay, and let's see what... No, not novel plots. Mystery solutions. Can we suggest May as anyone? No. Would be kind of funny if we could. The manager of the Royal Bethlehem... Manager of the Royal Bethlehem came through the mirror and Horatia looks in on me after dinner, though I'm not the one she's looking for. There's a man in from the night. Invited himself, bold as brass. Says he's here for Mr. Moss. Ah, and some more viewers, it looks like. Okay, and Network crashed again. Going back on any time now.
I'll just go and fetch down Mr. Moss for him.
Yeah.
I shan't be a tick.
And yet in her dreams, sometimes she is a bee, nesting at the center of a great hive. Attended by drones and spooled in honey, she need never leave but her drones. My, how they fly! Forgive my manners. A delight to be reacquainted. Manners. A delight to be reacquainted. This is an elaborate way to catch my attention. Oh, your attention is the last thing in the world I desire. I wanted to be the one who came across the sea to bring me a crown. Speaking of, here, take it back. I find its habit of issuing proclamations most tiresome. Oh, our habit. And we would not have to be so repetitious with our requests if you listened to them. Oh, odds sods, it is you. Your face is his. He would never have shared it. Moss makes a rumbling noise deep in his throat. You have me at a disadvantage, although the king has spoken much of you. I do not know you. But some part of you must recall the cedars, the heart, and the knife. What you said as I held your hand, what I said as I held the blade. And you really have forgotten all I meant to you. Moss makes a sound like loose pebbles falling into a fountain. I think you have me mistaken. I am the messenger, not the king. Our friend has something to say. Indeed, much as I wish to know more of you, I do not wish to do so by deception. I am an imitation. I am not the king. You have his face, but you are not he. You are born to the clay, though there's diamond in you too. A passing fancy that my love and I were reunited. A grand love, flown from death, finding a new act after long separation. But such a story, such as ours, could not find continuation in such a humble place as this. It is only for my heart's cruelest fancy that caused me to mistake you for him. I am the intended recipient of the crown you bore. A gift chosen for its cruelty, a representation of a loss, so he can gain what he casually discards. A cruelty I have earned, indeed I savour its every cut. I thought our tradition was ended long ago, yet by chance it continues with you. The king forbade us to speak of you. He told me only what was needed. Makes a long... Oh, wait. The king forbade us to speak of you. He told me only what was needed. He makes a long grinding noise like the erosion of chalk cliffs. Continues for some time. Enough to find you, but I know so little else about you. Even how to address you. I know what my king would command, but he is not here. He looks to me as though searching for the answer to a riddle. Do what you think is best, Moss. I must think on my king's wishes. This task was given to me and no other. The king's trust is in my diplomacy. In such a long span of time for the task, any changes must be assumed to be accounted for, and thus immaterial.
I am glad we have found an accord. When out from the king's rule, kindness is so much easier to find. He would be furious, of course, that we find solace beyond the comfort of his own love. To hate and to keep, his affection is of the smothering kind. But make no mistake, we are out of his shadow. Or why else would he cast you off like shale from a mountain's shoulder? Abandon you to the ruin of the last city and the fall of this one? Moss makes a noise like the fracturing of a diamond deep in a mountain heart.
How was he to know that the task would be so difficult? Nor could any have expected a city to fall while I was in the last one.
Moss makes a reluctant sound like Sisyphus taking a moment's pause.
Had he known, I am certain he would have summoned me home.
The truth is such a bitter draught, I've found. I am like you, Moss. I have served faithfully and been found wanting. In all these centuries he has acknowledged me but rarely, and then only to insult. He has made you in his image. You have served as ably as you could, I have no doubt. But you have failed. He has discarded you, just as he did me. He left you alone in this strange place. He has known the fall of cities before. He knows their signs, and still he did not call you back. May's disappearance delayed you. Perhaps the king could not reach you when it was too late.
Of course, in all the chaos and confusion of the fourth's fall, and then the fifth, any messenger would be overwhelmed. After all, I was.
All messengers leave sign of their passage, particularly those made of clay. It has been some time, moss upon limestone. The truth is hard, I know, but the worst has already come to pass for you.
Would you both excuse me?
He makes a sound that resembles sudden rain upon a mountainside.
I am glad that you have received our king's gift, and I am glad my task is now at an end. Goodbye, May.
Oh dear, I seem to have caused discord between us. It was never my intention, only to clarify his mind to the truth.
And tech.
The king's conduct to those who have hurt him is generally distressing. The clock chimes and the Cinders girl. Like the Cinders girl, I am without my shoes. Should Moss have questions, and I am in the mood for badinage, of course, he should know where and how to find me. As for you, whom he so clearly relies upon, I might myself wonder how he came to be abandoned by you. Happily, I am not. But I assure you there is a breach between him and his king.
Ah, hello there. Okay, and once it comes back. Okay, we are now acquainted with May. Occupation unknown, household unknown, romantic interests unknown. Her relationship simmers pleasantly. Perhaps it could become something more. Moss. Nothing. Though his heart was given in polythreme. Okay, and let's see. Batachi-Khan, still nothing. Barkujin, still nothing. Okay, and day 298. 7 days remain in Yule. As usual, I resort to the morning papers. The headlines today read, New Anglican Synod disbanded after accusations of infiltration by impostors. And with that, I believe I will call it for tonight. Thank you for watching. The game has been Mask of the Rose. If you would like to watch me play some more, please follow me on Twitch. Thank you, and good night.